Patrick, we'll start with you. We've seen the character of Merlin a lot on screen, but what did you connect to most with Joe Cornish's reimagined version?
I liked his sense of fun, particularly, so it wasn't entirely a serious, dramatic role, although it had its drama. I was very enthusiastic about working with Joe, and we had a good time. And I got to shoot a film where I could live at home. That was maybe one of the most important things. Never seems to happen these days.
And I guess I read that as part of your preparation for the role, you undertook the journey that the knights take in the film as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that and some highlights and where you went?
Yeah, well, Merlin in the film, he's so familiar with that route, to go through Stonehenge to Bodmin Moor and then walking on to Tintagel, where Merlin actually has a cave if you go there. And I thought he's going to be so familiar with this route. And not only that, but he relishes it, even in the pouring rain. So I thought the least I can do is become familiar with it myself. So I went, it was dark actually at this point. I got off at Bodmin and I walked to Bodmin Moor. And I actually sort of mimicked like what Merlin does, walking along a motorway, alongside, which is ridiculous when I think back to it. But anyway, got onto the moor, spent the night there, and then woke up at sunrise and did the walk myself.
You slept alone on the moor?
I did, yeah. And then, yeah, it was great. But I didn't have a map, which was so foolish because I just kept getting, stuck up against fences and in boggy marshland. And I remember at one point thinking, oh, God, I was right in the middle of some marshland, but I just had to eat. So sitting down with, water up to my ankles, eating some malt loaf or something before I made my next move.
And how much time did you both have to bond and kind of work on the shared aspects of the character?
Not a lot, did we? And Joe talked with us, and we discussed where the similarities might be. But then he sent us off, and we worked on our own together. And I used to spy on him on the set as well.
Me him too.
How he moved and gestured, and so that we could incorporate some of those things into the performance.
Patrick, older Merlin appears when he has important wisdom to impart with some authority to the younger knights. Do you have any advice for the younger generation to live by?
Be fearless. I think where we are as a state and as a nation, and the challenges that are offered to young people these days, as well as the distractions, sometimes harmful, sometimes not. But it's what I always say to student actors when they say, just give me one thing. What thing would you recommend? And I said, you must be brave. And sometimes even borderline reckless in what you do, because you'll then be talking and illustrating yourself and the camera or a theatre audience. They love that when they get the feeling that there is something more than a performance here, but there's belief and truth and self-expression. And
I guess finally, how enjoyable was it to have Patrick as the older iteration of yourself?
It was magnificent. You can imagine what it was like, news filtering in, because we'd been working on it for a couple of weeks and working on the scenes, news filtering in that Sir Patrick Stewart was coming to play Merlin alongside me. It was a great privilege, and he was. We were so lucky to have both of us working together and creating the role. It was something you'd love for every part you play.
Both of you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was lovely to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys,
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!